Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. The number one competitor to the Cybertruck is mainly considered to be the Ford F-150 Lightning, although we also have a few other electric pickup trucks on the way, such as the Rivian, EV Hummer, and Lordstown, but none are actually launched yet. I mean none at all, including the Cybertruck and F-150. Except the Cybertruck does have a factory nearly complete and also its own gigapress too, but Ford seems to have made the most effort and noise at going head to head to compete with Tesla's Cybertruck. Given the ICE F-150 isn't just the best-selling pickup truck in the US, but actually the best-selling car in the entire country, Ford has a chance of potentially competing with the Cybertruck with the best-selling and loyal F-150 brand. And in Ford's defense, it does appear to be a relatively popular EV, with 120,000 pre-orders already. Sure, that's not even 1/10 the quantity of the Cybertruck, but still, it's not nothing. In addition to that, Ford will potentially benefit from a $12,500 EV tax credit available to consumers, which will obviously be great for their demand, and likely increase the number of pre-orders even further. And now, due to this popularity and such strong pre-launch demand, well, Ford are not messing around, particularly when it's the most important brand. Most? Or perhaps I mean only, as it is literally the car pretty much keeping them in solvency. As a result of all this extra popularity, then now Ford are going to double their production target for the F-150 Lightning for 2024. And in order to achieve that, Ford are going to spend an additional $850 million to meet that target. Wow, that's almost $1 billion. I told you they're not messing around. It seems electric pickup trucks will be a very popular product. And as pickup trucks have now become Ford's bread and butter, they're going to take full advantage of this, particularly when these pre-orders came in before any potential tax credit, and that could even double their demand again. So their 2024 production target has gone from, are you ready for this? It's gone from 40,000 vehicles a year to 80,000 vehicles in 3 years' time. Not only that, Ford will even plan on building 15,000 next year and 55,000 in 2023. And then in 2025, 160,000, if they're still solvent by that stage. Wow, Ford is certainly in line with their mission on an ambitious trajectory to lead the electrification revolution, from being the only full-line American automaker to side with California in favor of stricter greenhouse gas emissions, to electrify our most iconic and popular vehicles like the F-150 Lightning, Mustang Mach-E, and E-Transit. Customer demand has exceeded our expectations, so we expect to be well positioned to have fully electric vehicles account for 40 to 50% of our US sales by 2030. We're counting on strong cooperation among the Biden administration, Congress, and state and local governments, and are doing our part by developing high-quality, zero-emission vehicles that customers want. Well, I think one thing is for certain we can all agree on. Ford are going to beat their zero-emission targets for sure. I guarantee Ford will have zero emissions by 2030, maybe even much sooner, as it's very hard to create any emissions when you no longer exist. We're seeing more of the legacy auto's hands when it comes to what they have to offer in EVs and just how far behind they are compared to Tesla. It takes a long time to ramp up EV and battery production. It's been over 5 years since Tesla's Giga Nevada was operational. None of the legacy autos are even at that stage yet, let alone their own in-house designed batteries that will be produced at under half the cost with the best energy density. This is absolutely ridiculous. 15,000 units just next year. I know the Cybertruck is not going quite to plan, but we should hope for perhaps 50,000 next year, at a realistically conservative number, but possibly a lot more. And once 4680s are sorted, and perhaps some Cybertruck production lines start ramping, then 200,000 units isn't going to be too unexpected for 2023. Again, potentially much higher, but it's a revolutionary new process of manufacturing automobiles, so you never know. On the other hand, it's such a simple shape with no paint and gigapresses, then maybe they'll come off the line at record velocity. Tesla already have around 1.5 million Cybertruck pre-orders, And sure, not all of these customers will complete their order, but there'll be a lot of Cybertruck customers too that haven't pre-ordered either, especially once they experience them and see them driving around. In other words, even at 200,000 units a year, it could take Tesla more than 5 years just to get through these reservations, which is obviously ridiculous. So Tesla will make sure they can deliver a lot more than 200,000 a year, hopefully closer to 500,000. Of course, the Tesla Cybertruck could very well also benefit from a $10,000 tax credit too, although I wouldn't expect the single motor to be out at $30,000 anytime soon, as there is simply so much demand for the tri and dual motors. But with a $10,000 discount, they are immense value, and once people actually get their heads around what this vehicle truly is, then there genuinely could be demand for $1 million a year just in the US. Does that sound too crazy? Well, that isn't far off the number of F-150s that are sold in the US a year, and Tesla has historically always beaten every other ICE competitor in the markets they enter, and things will only improve for Tesla and EVs in general, as there'll be more charging stations, Tesla service centres, not to mention all the other additions that will come with over-the-air updates. Oh, and of course, that outstanding FSD Tesla have that Ford can't begin to compete with. Why? Well, Ford aren't an AI company, and they can't become one. Seriously, they would have just as much chance at competing against Google in search. Google have an AI technology and talent, and massive amount of search data. Tesla have the technology and talent and all the driving data. How can anyone compete on FSD, which will become the number one reason to purchase a car in the first place? In fact, the current number one reason is safety, and Tesla's FSD will eventually make a car 10 times less likely to be in an accident, rendering it the safest form of transport. Mark my words, that Texas factory is enormous. It wouldn't surprise me if the total capacity isn't far off 4 million units a year for everything. It's 1 mile long and has multiple floors. I think everyone is underestimating it, even though a lot of people estimate 2 million annual capacity. But as shareholders, even at 2 million, that alone takes Tesla's total capacity to triple what it is now. And then we have Ford at perhaps best a total of 310,000 units at the end of 2025. You know, if everything goes well for them in an industry they're not experienced at, where everyone seems to be facing delays and issues, even Tesla, as experienced as they are. Yeah, EV manufacturing is a different game from ICE manufacturing, let alone robot car manufacturing, which is actually what Tesla really makes. By that stage, Tesla should have produced well over 1 million Cybertrucks. Oh, and of course, it's really unlikely Ford could produce 160,000 Lightnings a year anyway. No other EV manufacturer can seem to break past around 10,000 units a month. This requires going through production hell. No one else seems to have what it takes to break through it. Being first to market with a mass production EV pickup is going to make a huge difference, and Tesla will dominate the market. Oh, but what about all the customers that want to buy the Lightning over the ICE F-150, especially when the government decides there is a $12,500 price advantage? Yeah, well, that can't go well. Ford would have Osborned themselves. Their customers want the Lightning over the ICE instead. Plus, I have to hand it to Ford, they have made some great functionality with the Lightning for applications, which will make it a far more desirable vehicle from a utilitarian standpoint over the conventional F-150. I mean, it's still terrible as far as an EV is concerned, well, at least compared to Tesla. But aside from that, it's a bit of an upgrade from Ford's ICE version. If Ford lose too many F-150 ICE orders, then that's it for them. And it doesn't even have to be that many. I bet a drop in 20 to 25% of sales could seriously hurt them, as they need the economies of scale to achieve a decent profit. Oh, not to mention an extra $850 million to be spent. That's an enormous amount of money. And this is a booming economy. In an economic downturn, it will be that much harder for them. This is ridiculous. Well, thanks Ford for showing us just how much better Tesla is in every single way. I know we already knew this, but it's nice to see the actual evidence come out from what I've been speculating all this time. And remember, this is Ford doubling their targets. Prior to that, the production numbers were barely anything. I probably should go into more depth on the Chinese competition. I just seem a bit addicted to watching these evil legacy ICE autos fail and seem to relish every moment of it. Bottom line, Tesla has secured the US market of EVs to such a level no one can touch them, and the US will be the biggest EV market anyway, by dollars spent at least. China likely for pure quantity of sales. But luckily for us, you value a company on their sales in dollars, not in quantity. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.